All right. 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 Do do do. All right. All right. All right. All right. Tech and Chill special Wednesday night. Unpacked. I was meant to do the stream yesterday, but mentally and physically, actually not even physically, I think mentally I was drained. Mentally I was drained. Like I slept early. Like I needed to sleep early. I slept at like 9:30, maybe 9:45. Slept. Your boy slept. You know? I slept. I'm sorry. I was meant to give you but you know what? It worked. It worked because I have a close source that's used the Galaxy Z Flip. I'm calling it Z Flip. I know people are saying it's Z Flip. Z Flip a bit more extensively, and I kind of wanted to pick he or she's brain. You don't know who is what I did there, he or she? Brain on kind of like the some of the finer detailings and kind of translate it to me, because I think the Z Flip is the star of Unpacked. And I know most people are not going to disagree because obviously the S20 Ultra, but I love what the Z Flip is representing and what the Z Flip is doing. So I think having a day to really absorb it in, find some more information out. Still some more information to find out on the S20 series that I'm still doing some digging. I'm still trying to do some digging to make sure that I get the right information. But I kind of wanted to chime in and kind of talk about my feelings towards Unpacked, and just kind of, interject my kind of thoughts on what's going on about what Samsung have actually announced and released and where it's leading. So strap up, buckle up your seatbelts, because you're going to get the Lover of Tech lowdown on the thoughts of the S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra, and the Galaxy Z Flip. Whew, 4 juggernaut products, man. 4 juggernaut products. I don't even know where to start. But I'm going to try and pull some articles. See what I got on Samsung.com. See on Samsung.com, man. It's mad still. Z Flip. Yeah. They got Buds Plus. I forgot about the Buds Plus as well. That's true. But let me say hi to my peoples. Max J, hello. First, hey, hi. Thanks for joining. Glenn, what's good? Yo, hopefully get my Z Flip this week. Absolutely. Kind of one of the most impressive things to ensure that the product is actually out on Valentine's Day. Imagine, product is out on Valentine's Day. Madness. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, man, it's I can't leave Unpacked feeling, impressed. I am impressed. I have to say I'm impressed. I'm whelmed. Not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed. I'm just whelmedly impressed. So I think Samsung did more than a good job. I think they did a fantastic job with these products, and I'm more impressed with the Z Flip, the Z Flipped. Wow. I'm trying to switch to desktop and Camlink. Ooh, I love how that transitions. Someone please get me a Stream Deck. I want a Stream Deck. Yeah, man. This is packing some serious heat. So, RIP to the S10e. They've dropped it. These phones directly replace the S20 to the S10, S20 Plus to the S20 to the S10 Plus, and the S20 Ultra pretty much replaces the S10 5G, I believe, in my mind. Shout out to Trent and Marshall, aka Tech Rant. He made a very good point on that. The S10e is dropped off, and I think the S10 Lite is going to fill that gap, which is You know, it's weird in terms of naming, but it does in terms of the design and what it's bringing forward. Oh man, where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? 108 megapixels. It's the bonkers. Yeah, these cameras on a hardware level, again, to be tested. 8K video. Where you can grab 33 megapixel stills from it. Crazy. Yeah, the camera is the centerpiece, because they Samsung just understand that the camera is the most popular feature to people. It is the most popular feature. Tech Love and Mama, hello, thanks for joining. The camera is the most heart pulsing popular feature that you can get on these high-end smartphones right now, man. A 5,000 milliamp hour battery on the Ultra, crazy. Supports up to 45 watt power delivery 3.0 standards fast charging. Up to 512 gig internal storage. There isn't a 1 terabyte option like you had with the ceramic models, which it's a shame if I'm gonna say that. A micro SD card is there, up to 1 terabyte, which obviously you can buy 1 terabyte storage now for micro SD. Crazy design, camera, and then the Z Flip. Wow. So it's a lot to take in. But I think I've landed on the US website, which I don't know why. Samsung.com UK. Give me the UK. Want to kind of give it from pre-order now. It's mad, absolute mad. All right, let me click on this. Would love to get hold of that Ultra and compare it with the P30 Pro. The Ultra is gonna win. The P30 Pro is behind. It's a year behind. The Ultra is gonna win. Straight up, the Ultra is gonna win. It's a generation behind, and Samsung have actually made all 3 of the main cameras physically bigger in sensor size, and they're doing so much more. Like, I don't think the P. I think maybe the Mate 30 Pro, or definitely the P40 series. Right now on paper, and I mean to be tested. Yeah, this is going to be doing bits still. This is going to be doing bits. Compare models. Let's compare the 3 models if it allows us to do that. Right. So S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra, S10 5G, S20, S10 Plus, S10. And for their smallest phone to have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, winning in terms of capacity. 4,500, 5,000. Samsung finally have gotten out of the shadow of what haunted them with the battery toboggle. That was the Note 7. These are very, very good capacities. And I know capacities are one thing, optimization is another, internal efficiencies is another thing, but this is a good look. And these main cameras as well, physically the sensor sizes have gotten much bigger. Physically they have gotten bigger, but I need to find out physically what the sensor sizes are. So it's something I need to look at. I know there was probably a few YouTubers that stated the physical sensor size. I think MKBHD would have been one of them. Yeah, 3 times optical zoom or hybrid optical zoom, and then you've got 5 times hybrid optical zoom, all the way up to 100 times space zoom. Clarity is to be questioned, to be tested. Eager to see how that comes out. But yeah, these are packing. So let's go over to design. Design. Wow. So dynamic AMOLED times 2. Cinematic display, as they're carrying it on from what they were calling it last year when I did my hands-on video. Hasn't been any improvement to the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner from what I believe. They didn't really shout about that much. Eye care display, which is something that they're carrying on from One UI 2, obviously with Android 10. Not afraid of the water. Ingress protection, IP68, 1.5 meters. They didn't make it stronger, like how Apple did it up to 4 meters. Whether that matters or not, I don't know. I do not know. All-day battery. On paper, believable, depending on how you adjust the screen and how you use the phone. Super fast wireless, super fast charging. Yep. Wireless power shares there. Wireless up from 12 to 15 watts from what I've been told. 7nm plus processor. Again, depending on what region you're in, you're either going to have an Exynos 990 like we have here, or the Snapdragon 865, which is preferred. Up to 16 gigabytes of RAM. Sorry if I blasted your ears. First smartphone to have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Same as my laptop before I upgraded it to 32 gigabytes. And it's on a smartphone. We are living in the future now, my friends. We are living in the future now. Again, up to 1.5 terabytes. Obviously, up to a terabyte when it comes to micro SD. Internal up to 512. 5G, millimeter wave and sub-6 band when it comes to 5G, which is kind of needed for that 8K goodness that you've got in there. Music share. So music share is where you can use your smartphone as a Bluetooth hub. And this is where it's interesting in retrospect to, if let's just say you're on a car with a friend and you don't want them to connect their phone to your car's Bluetooth, connect it to your phone, it goes through, it doesn't take it's really cool. This is taking Bluetooth 5.0 technology to different levels in terms of usability. Video chat, Google Duo. Okay, it's going it through Google Duo, so full high definition, great, which is awesome. Bixby, oh dear. Bixby's like the swear word. Hybrid dual SIM, which is great. And you've also got eSIM as well. What do you get in the box? So you get a clear case, awesome. USB Type-C AKG tuned earphones, 25 watt charging. Should have been 45 watt in the box at this price. But 25 watts, the 25 watt charger is very efficient. But with bigger batteries at 5,000 milliamps, it would have been nice to just put a 45 watt in there. Models. Man. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so here we are. Apart from, so basically the difference, S20, S20 Plus, apart from the 3D time of flight depth sensor, they pretty much have the same camera, right? They pretty much do have the same camera. So the 64 megapixel camera is actually not the main camera. It is actually the zoom camera that has a 64 megapixel camera. The main camera is a bigger sensor, 12 megapixel camera. So look at that very carefully, because 108 megapixel camera, that is for the main camera on the S20 Ultra. This particular one is the zoom one. From what I've been told, because the ultra wide angle cameras are 12 megapixels. This one is the zoom one. This one is the main camera for the S20 Ultra. ×3 optical, hybrid optical zoom, up to ×30 super res zoom with the space zoom. Same here. So interesting. 8K video. Yes. Oh, that's what I wanted to see. Sensor sizes. Crazy. If you guys know the sensor size that was on the S10 series, they were minute, to say the least. They were 1/2.55 inch sensors. They were minute. They weren't even 1/2.33 inch sensors. They were minute. LG were using very minute sensors. They were using 1/3.1 inch sensors. But this is massive for a smartphone. Massive. This is getting closer to that 1 inch sensor size. Once we get to 1/1, it will be a 1 inch sensor size. This for a main camera sensor is massive. When it does is, I don't know if the right term is pixel binning, right? I really don't. I need to do some investigation to find out, because obviously there's line skipping, pixel binning, and super sampling. I don't know if it is really pixel binning. I know the term pixel binning has been chucked around a lot, but I do feel like maybe the correct term is super sampling. My photographers out there, please do correct me if I'm right or wrong. But this is a big physical hardware upgrade. Not really the 108 megapixels, right? Because those pixel microns end up being 0.8 in terms of the pixel dot sizes. But with this, with the super sampling or the pixel binning, we'll decide which one's the correct term. So let's hold it there. Let's hold it there. I'll give you a second to hold it in. And we come back to topic. The pixel sizes are going up to 2.4 micron pixels, which is insane in terms of the super sampling and the pixel merging at 12 megapixels. Wow. Crazy sensor size increases. On a hardware level, they've made these sensors physically massive. Absolutely massive. Massive. Absolutely massive. More natural bokeh, more natural light coming in without the need for a dedicated low light shooting mode. This is the real hero. On a hardware level, this is the real hero. And I'm hoping we can get to the point where the real estate that's taken, I would not mind having a phone that takes up the same camera bump real estate but has a dedicated 1-inch sensor to give the most powerful hardware level single lens shooting camera. Just ditch the flexibility of zoom and ultra wide and just give me a fat 1-inch point and shoot sensor and just give me all the power on a hardware level that I can have in there. That's impressive. Yo, so we got George in the house. Hey mate, how are you? Just got back from Samson and saw you on my feed. Nice, great stuff. Yo, technically, aka Trigger T in the house. Triggered T. That you have a separate persona now that I've dubbed you, aka Trigger T. You lot should see T when he gets triggered on Twitter. Sensors are huge, batteries are huge, screens are huge. The phone is unreal. Absolutely, it's pixel binning. Is it really? Samsung call it pixel binning in last night's. I know they did, but is it really pixel binning? There's 3 forms of information processing from large sensors and large megapixel informations. You've got one-to-one sensor readouts. You've got line skipping, you've got pixel binning, and you've got super sampling. Right? We just need to define whether it's the right term that they're using, which is pixel binning. If it is, it is. But I have a feeling pixel binning is kind of the wrong marketing term for this situation. So I might be wrong. Batteries, I already praised the battery capacities, again, to be tested to see how the optimizations, especially with the display, works out. Crazy. What's interesting on Samsung's website, they're not really putting much emphasis on the display itself and what the display can do. All they've done, I don't know if you've noticed this, but all they've done is just basically showed that it's an Infinity O display with Corning Gorilla Glass. They haven't showed anything about it having any form of fluid dynamic AMOLED display characteristics, i.e. the 120 hertz. They haven't showed anything on here. Which is very, very interesting. Yo, what's good? Filmed by Fresh in the house. What's good, Fresh? Welcome to the house. So we're doing a just kind of like a raw reaction and my thoughts on the S20 series as well as the Z Flip, because I feel the Z Flip is the star of the show and I want to buy it and I'm going to buy it. Not the S20 Ultra. Yep, I'm on that side. It's the folding screen phone I've wanted way before, and it's not for nostalgia reasons. It's literally for practical portability reasons, backed with the additional sprinkle of actual real world usability functionality. Man, it's crazy. Let me go to pre-order and see how it's segmented in terms of how we are getting treated in the UK. Okay, let me pre-order. Thank you. Right, so in the UK, how does it break down? UK pricing, like you just pick 4G, So we've got LTE long-term evolution 4G models here. 5G. Okay, so 4G only gives you, okay, cool. 5G. S20 Ultra. So the S20 Ultra comes in 128 gigabyte option. Why? Straight to the full beans one for sure. Is £1,400. Ski bucks. Keep $100. May come to back to Android. Come back. You shouldn't have ever left. You lot in America love iOS for days, bruv. You lot love iOS for days. But I get it. Apple ecosystem and all that jazz. I get it. But in this country, it don't matter that much. S20 Ultra. Big bucks. Cosmic Gray. 512 gig. Samsung Care. Bucks. Bare P. Jeez. Bare P. Bare P. But it's good. Samsung upgrade program. Pay 10% up front. 24-month installments. After a year, bring it back. Pay no difference. You move. You get the S21. You feel me? They don't even talk about front camera that much. Samsung selfie camera game is nothing strong. I think it's just a decision because they couldn't put a bigger sensor camera in there without making the hole punch bigger. It's a fair enough compromise. I think it's a fair enough compromise. Yeah, big bucks. Big bucks. Big bucks. Money bucks. S20. Let's see if there's the 512 gig. 512 gig, man. Okay. So, by the looks of it, it's only 128 gig for the S20 Plus. That sucks. Because I always say, as nice as having a micro SD card is, as nice as it is, you can't do all things. Android has had this feature known as adaptable storage for time now. Manufacturers don't enable it because SD cards are just not as reliable and they're not as fast to keep up with, especially now what is UFS 3.0 storage, which is giving you SSD-like read and write speeds. You see, so 128 gigabyte as an only option in the S20 Plus is not good enough. They should have made it 256. In my opinion, an SD card will not solve all the storage problems. And in the UK, bang. Okay, so it's £100 difference for wow. So okay, if I went LTE, raw 128 gigabyte for the S20 at £800 for LTE only. Wow, that's amazing value. That is dope value actually. Yeah. Okay. Base model without the time of flight sensor, 6.2 inches, quad high definition plus display, 120 hertz, only in 1080p, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. 8 gig RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. If you don't care about 5G, £800. Wow. That's actually good value for money for the base model. Thank you, Samsung, for doing the correct currency exchange. I'll give you that. They actually did the currency exchange properly. £800. That's a £200 difference if you're comparing it in terms of $1,000 in USA. They did a legit cut down currency exchange. This base model 4G LTE only of the S20 is looking nice. I have to admit. Kind of have to admit. Wow. Okay. Kind of have to admit. Interesting. But let's go to the pièce de résistance. The Z Flip. Yeah, we say Z Flip. Not Z Flip, Z Flip. My new love child of a smartphone. I love this phone. I love how this phone has been communicated. I love what Samsung have done in terms of learning from their lessons. This Z Flip is For the longest time, I've always. Okay, let me see this. I'm thinking about the S20 Plus and a Active 2. Yeah, S20 Plus, 100%. S20 Plus, 100%. The S20 Ultra, I'm scared low key that phone physically might just be too big, but I have to hold it. It might not be, because if you feel comfortable with the Note 10 Plus, that was on the old. That was on what do you call it? That was on the 19:9 aspect ratio. So 6.8, 20:9 aspect ratio, less bezel, 6.9. I think it will be physically the same size. I'm just low key worried that it might feel a bit too big. That's what she said in the hand. But the Z Flip, man. Oh, man. So I talked to one of my guys that went to the event, had a briefing, had a pre-briefing, used it a bit more extensively, and kind of shared some of the things about how this phone is, right? Yes, the crease is there, but it's not there nowhere near as bad as the first Fold. It is a bit different because it's horizontal rather than vertical. So you do feel it kind of more, but it's not as bad. So it's kind of in between. The bezels are symmetrical, even though not super thin, but they're thin enough to be completely symmetrical all around, which is great. Infinity L central hole display looks really, really good. This product, and also ultra thin glass. The ultra thin glass, from what he or she told me, the ultra thin glass is there. It is glass, but it does still feel like a much more durable polymer layer on top. But it is ultra thin glass. Obviously, it can be folded up to tested 200,000 times. Real world testing is the different thing, right? You know, it's a give and take, but it's the hinge, man. They've put fibers in there. It's a 2 to 3 step hinge. It's got a freehold unique design where when you hold it and you actually open it, you can actually use it in a split screen mode, and it's so usable in so many different situations where the phone can just sit on itself. It doesn't wobble because the hinge is much more durable, but it's got 3 stages of flexibility there, and just being able to use it in terms of, you know, laying it there, boom, put your hand out, take pictures. Man, I know so many times me and my people have had nights out and we're just there chilling, phone down. Imagine just being able to put the phone down, it sits by itself, you all get in, you take the selfie. Like, I can see a lot of real world usability situations here. The smartphone that can stand on its own, I love that. I love how that's communicated, man. That bottom part pretty much becomes a split screen trackpad in a sense for pure control. Dope. I would say this is mid-level flagship for 2019, not 2020, because it does have a Snapdragon 855 Plus. Not even Samsung put their 855 Plus in their Note 10 Plus. They put an 855 and an Exynos 9825, which the Exynos is not as good as the Snapdragon, and the 855 Plus is even more powerful. So I would say, in terms of power, it's mid-level, mid-town recycle or refresh 2019. So it's more than capable enough. But that's not what it is. It's almost gapless as well. Yeah, I want the Z Flip. I so want the Z Flip. I want the Z Flip, man. I've always respected what the Fold did. Right? I've always respected what the Fold did. Yeah, 256 gig storage, wireless power shares there. 7nm processor with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 3,300 milliamp hour battery, 4K UHD recording. Pretty much all the specs, you know. So you've got dual cameras, pretty much of what the S10e had. So you're looking at an ultra wide as well as obviously the standard, not the zoom. I don't think you've got 5G connectivity. I don't believe you've got dual speakers as well. I don't believe there is dual speakers. That's another thing to consider. It's not an all right perfect device, right? Let's go to buy. Right, these are the retailers. EE, biggest network in the UK. Third, Carphone Warehouse is kind of like our version of Best Buy, but purely for mobile phones. Pre-order, £1,300, 256, 8 gig RAM, perfect. 4G connectivity, no 5G. Does it matter to people? I don't know. Monthly payments look very reasonable over 2 years. And let me switch it back. Let me look at the comments. Naughty Z Flip my head off. I like the innovation with the flip, but I'll wait for the crease-free edition. My guy said crease-free edition. Oh my days. I swear, if Samsung released it and said this is the Galaxy Z Flip crease-free edition, that would be marketing 101. People would cop that. Do you want crease or no crease? Nah, we just use the iron. That's it. I like that. The crease-free edition. Yo, that's wild. That is wild. I don't want to feel a crease. Nah, that's fair. I must be the only one that's not crazy about the flip. No, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. But where I'm happy with the flip is, for the longest time, I've been the front runner for these phones to have more screen and get bigger. But I'm just speaking for myself. I've always found it cumbersome, even for a guy with pants and trousers and jeans and all these things, to have these unwieldily big devices pocketed, you know. And I've always, even before folding, I always dreamt, and I was like, oh, I just wish somehow I could just clamp it and make it smaller. I always had this thought in my mind, but I never voiced it because I thought that's just an impossibility. You generally, that's just an impossible thing in terms of a folding screen phone. I know there's folding devices, but folding screen phones. The Z Flip speaks to me. 100% speaks to me, man. 100% speaks to me. No phone at that price, but this is where what they've been able to achieve in terms of, in a short space of time, thin, flexible glass hybrid material, a much more improved, durable, and more flexible hinge with fibers that are built in there to stop dust and also dust blockage as well, right? Motorola pretty much made it clear that you couldn't really put high-end specs in there. Samsung said, hold my beer. These are mid-2019 flagship specifications that you will find in phones like the OnePlus 7T Pro, which is arguably one of the fastest phones for Android or phones, period, to come out, right? So please overlook the fact that it doesn't have an 865. It doesn't matter. Cameras, S10e cameras that are in there, very potent, enough cameras. That's all it needed to have, right? A near gapless shot, we're almost there. Like, I'm looking at all of this, and this is Samsung being, I wasn't expecting to see this year. 2021, if I saw this, I'd have been like, that's expected. But they are ahead of schedule in making sure that this type of clamshell vertical phone design is pretty much refined enough where by the 4th generation in 2022, just like what you had with the iPhone 4 being the real iPhone that really took off. 1st generation iPhone, then you had the 3G, then the 3GS, then the iPhone 4. People, let's remember how special the iPhone 4. That was hit number 4. We get to hit number 4, this platform will really take off. Aspect ratio is 21:9:9. Aspect ratio that I've been told, not 22:9, 21:9:9. Crazy. Let's round it up. 22:9 for you, Samsung. Right, so slightly taller than usual, even taller than the normal 21:9 cinematic aspect ratio that you find in movies and videos. So I hope they bring it back down to 20:9. This phone is secretly the star of the show because if I'm going back to my sales days, man, I'm telling you, customers used to loathe, especially the female demographic customers. They used to loathe at these big screen phones. Maybe not as much as before because they've been educated to embrace the bigger screen phones, right? But used to loathe the cumbersomeness of having to carry these phones in their pockets, in their purses. I'm telling you, the female demographic, and especially with this phone coming out on Valentine's Day, wow. Sales are going to be bumping up. Let me read the comments and come back in, right? So, I do love the innovation, but I can't. That's the beauty of where we are. People prefer the folded tablet with the Galaxy Fold. I'm one that sits more on this side of the folded phone into the smaller vertical size. And People like the solid state phone that is the S20 series, S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. Let's just enjoy the fact that there's now a phone for each type of person now. That makes sense. I genuinely feel each category fits each type of user that sees a benefit in it. I've always respected what the Fold did, but it never spoke to me because I'm like, I've never needed to have my phone become a tablet. I've never ever wanted that. I've never ever dreamt of that. I've always, ever since the Note 4 series, right? I've always looked at these bigger phones and I'm thinking, I just wish there was a way to just kind of shrink them and make them bigger when I need it, because I love the form factor for usability. I don't like the form factor for portability. I'm speaking for me personally, and if I'm there, I know there's a lot of people that were thinking that, and it was not nostalgia based on because of the Razr phone or flip phones. No, it was just more a case of I just want the product to be more portable when I need it to. Like, you know, when I wear my suits, I don't want this tall thing sticking out. I want to clamp it down, make it nice and slick. Back pocket, front pocket. Just more compact. I've always had that dream. But in my mind, I'm thinking, a folding screen? There is no way that can be done. Samsung? I rate you. Motorola? I rate you. Samsung, I rate you more because you told Motorola, hold my beer, and we're going to give you premium specs inside as well. 3,300 milliamp hour battery, 15 watt charging, wireless charging with power share. And with the level of battery capacities they've been able to put, I promise you this, the next Z Flip will definitely at least have a 3,800 milliamp hour battery, if not 4,000 milliamp hour battery. This is great progression. Is it perfect? Of course not. Doesn't have an 865. It doesn't have a micro SD card. Should we still mention headphone jack? Yeah, we're going to mention it, but it's not relevant. You know, there isn't a 12 gig RAM option if you want to be picky. There isn't a 16 gig RAM option now that we're seeing phones with 16 gigabyte RAM. Thank you, Note 10, S20 Ultra. You know, does it have the new massive 1/1.33-inch sensor size with 100 It isn't 2020. So there's a lot of it isn't 2020. It doesn't have IP. Like, it's not a perfect phone. But where I'm seeing Samsung pushing themselves so much harder than I thought they would do to prove a point that there is a segmentation for this is, I think they want to get to a point where by 2025, market on the wall, you will see a refined 5.8 inch version of a Z Flip, 6.2 inch and a 6.7 inch, where it's going to be like a Morpheus question. Red pill or blue pill? Are you a solid state flat design phone or are you a foldable person? In the foldable, do you want it to be a tablet? Or do you want the phone just to be smaller? Or you don't mind and you just want to stick to classic? You are 3 people. Okay, you want a foldable tablet? How big do you want the tablet to be? We've got 3 different sizes. You want a foldable phone? We've got 3 sizes. If you don't care, we've got normal phones that are solid state in the 3 sizes that you know and love and you've loved since this. How is that not a win for everyone? How is that not a win? The options and what is being built here for us is phenomenal, right? And I've said this. A company like Samsung and these companies, especially Samsung, right, have too much of a product range right now. I'm going to actually describe what Samsung actually have right now. They've got low end, mid-range, flagship, and beyond flagship. Beyond flagship is what they're creating with the Z series as well as the Fold series, right? The beyond flagship is a whole new category they've created based on the Infinity Flex platform that they showcased at their Samsung Developer Conference in 2018. Each category's gonna have sizes beyond flagship, right? You're gonna have 3 sizes in there: 5.8, 6.2, 6.7. I'm predicting the future by 2025 for what they're building. Tablet, 2 different tablet sizes for that in terms of foldability and portability. Then you come to flagship. Flagship, you've got the ultra premium, and also the low end premium, right? Your ultra, your premium, S20 Plus, and then your normal premium with the S20. Then you've got the mid-range, the A series. You've got the premium mid-range such as the A80, the A95G. Then you've got the mid-range, A70, A50. Then you've got the low-end mid-range, which is the A40, the A20, the A10, right? Then you've got the M series. You know, they're building a phone portfolio very similar to a car company that has a ridiculous portfolio for each segmentation. And the argument I want to make is that I don't agree with any of these smartphone prices going over £1,000. I just don't. I really, it's painful to see, but the argument of they need to be cheaper, it's just not going to happen, guys. We need to get over it quick. It's not going to happen. Do you know what we need to channel our energy? 3 areas that we need to channel our energy for these companies to be accountable for. Fine. They're going to charge us £1,000. 800 for UK, 800 and above. All the way up to from 800 to 1,400. You're going to charge me that money. Great. Whatever. Right? Because you've got mid-range and low-end phones that fill up that gap in its hoard amount that you don't want to over-cannibalize and you don't want to over-confuse the communication. I get that. What we need to start doing is we need to start accounting for these companies to make sure that, one, whenever they have access to overkill technology, and I'm going to make very, very justifiable reasons, when they have access to overkill technology, i.e., 8K video recording, 108 megapixel camera, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 45 watt charging, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, right? When they have access to all these overkill technology, if it's ready and it can be accessed, even if it's overkill and it's ahead of its time, put it in the phone. Yes, 100%. Is 8K pointless and overkill? Yes, absolutely. Is it ready to go? Yes, it works now. Put it in the phone. That's stage 1. Make sure your hardware engineering team, right, whatever technology that they get access to and they can implement it straight away and it's ready, put it in there. Because you're going to charge me that money. I don't care if it's overkill. I want it in there. Stage 2, you need to have a team hired that is going to know and take that overkill tech and translate it into usable, consumer-friendly language and features that is easier to educate the end consumer, no matter who they are, whether they're tech savvy like me or normal people, to be able to use, i.e. single take. 8K is overkill, but thanks to single take, it's not. So single take is all about obviously using all the cameras, 10 seconds, records everything in those cameras and gives you 10 different shots. Great. That is clutch. You've taken the laborious build of these overly technical pentalens cameras that have so many lenses that people are like, well, how do you use it? Don't worry about how to use it. Just use single take. It will do it for you. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be done. Right? Bright night, space zoom, all these things you are learning now, taking. There's a team that you need to have that makes use of all that usable overkill, over the top OTT technology, and it's their job to find useful consumer friendly features that can be used easily, learn easily, communicate easily. Stage 3, have a marketing team that knows how to make creative, concise, educational adverts and commercials that can actually educate people and show people, even to the point where a little kid can see the advert and say, oh, wow, what is that? That's what's important. You need to make sure that these companies, if they're going to be charging £800 up to £1,400, that you're making sure that they are doing these 3 things correct, because they're not going to reduce the prices. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So I'm all for the fact that there's 8K video. Doesn't mean I'm probably going to use it. Hell no. But with features such as being able to pull 33 megapixel still shots, I might do, because I know that my still images are going to be very high quality. 1. Single take, I might use that. Find usable ways to take all the overkill technology. 16 gigabytes of RAM. Is that overkill? Flipping out. Yes. That is more RAM than most laptops. It's the same RAM as my laptop before I put an extra 16 gig in there to make it 32. And that's on a smartphone. Overkill. How are you going to make that useful for the end consumer? Guess what? You can stick 5 apps in RAM permanently because you got RAM for days. Do you know what that basically means, sir, madam? You can put your 5 favorite apps. They will never slow down. They will never refresh. They will never skip a beat. They will always be giving you the latest updates because you got RAM for days. That is taking overkill and finding it in a consumer-friendly, ease-of-use way to benefit the end user. Now, you got to now push it to marketing and make sure the marketing team say, look, we figured out these two. We figured out that we can put 16 gigabytes of RAM in this phone, and we figured out a very usable way where people can put 5 apps in there permanently, never slows down, never crashes, never restarts, always at their best. Now is your job to come up with something creative and how you can market this to people for them to get more education on how this works and why this is more beneficial against the competition. That's what we've got to start accounting them for. We've got to start critiquing them, not for the price, but at that price, if you're saying you are going to charge me for my kidney and to sell half my kid, what is in there that makes it good? Cool. What overkill features have you got in there? Good. How is that going to help me as a normal person, whether I'm tech savvy or not? 3. And how are you going to educate and market it so people can see the difference? If you can't do those 3 things, then the price that you're charging is whack. I don't know what you guys think about that, man, but that's my thoughts on it. I think the complaint of these products are too expensive. Yes, it's not going to change. It just isn't. The car industry is the same. It's been built like that now, right? When you get to a certain level of cars and they don't have certain features, then the price is whack. You can't have a top-end Grand Touring car that has basic cruise control. No. I want the car to basically drive me when I'm doing my long-distance drives, whether it's radar-assisted cruise control that can brake and drive for me, keep me lane-assisted, right? Make sure that you've got cameras that can see the speed limit and slow it down for me so I don't have to. Emergency braking, right? You can't tell me you're the top-end Grand Tourer model and you have basic cruise control. Lower end model phones and lower end model cars can have the basic cruise control. Not, it's accountability. You see. So this is to me a much better argument where these products are expensive. They are 100% expensive, but I'm almost eager to say that they are not overpriced. I know it's strange to say that, but I'm almost ready to say that these are expensive products that are not overpriced, but they're expensive. They're not cheap. They're not for the faint-hearted. But if you buy into it, there's a lot going. But at the same time, there are things missing in there that I kind of wanted to mention. S20 Ultra. No 45 watt. Okay, let me read the comments before I carry on. Okay. Kind of worried about the battery, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean 3,300. It's a way better place for it to be. You know, it's still going to be very usable. I like the fact that it's different, but I don't want to be a beta tester. Fair. Give it till 2022, 2021, 2022. Definitely. Full fit. You're not going to be. Having 2 separate batteries is questionable with Sammy's battery history. Nah, they're fixed up on battery history, man. They're fixed up. I honestly feel like the Note 7 days of battery warriors, they've broken out now. They are mass producing for you guys in USA. 5,000 milliamps is the biggest official phone battery that you can buy in your stores. It's a big deal. C2K Blitz. The Razer was only really happened as they were hoping to capitalize on the nostalgia factor, and a small form factor caught everyone's imagination. The Z Flip hasn't had the same support on its side. Questionable of them to announce it with the S20 range as well. Should have waited at least a month or 2. That one I do agree with. We have options, which is dope. I'm not mad at the form factor. I'll be on board in 2022. Yeah, I'm on board now as a lover of tech in the name, as someone that at times does not mind biting on early tech. I'm all for it. Honestly, I'm all for it. I'm all for getting the Z Flip now. It was obvious, never changed to be perfect. It's a sign of how much progress can be made in it. Yeah, the progress. Look, deep this, peep this, and see this. All three, right? Deep, peep, and see. Thin film glass, even in a hybrid form with polymer material, that is impressive. That is impressive. A much stronger and at the same time more flexible hinge design where it can stand on its own. You couldn't do that with the Galaxy Fold, but you can with this. Flagship specs, mid 2019 flagship specs where the processor wasn't even in the Note 10 Plus or the Note 10, 855 Plus. Yeah? 3,300 milliamp hour battery is reasonable, even for a 6.7 inch display. I'm telling you, right? Strong cameras that you found in the S20 with the ultra wide and the standard, right? Come on, almost gapless when it's clamped. Almost gapless when it's clamped. It's crazy. 3 segments are being created here. One is in its end game. Solid state physical non-moving parts phones are in their end game. And the end game is gonna come when, like, OnePlus have showcased with the Concept One, like Oppo have showcased with their innovation there with the invisible front-facing camera and the rear-facing cameras from the Concept One from the OnePlus, right? Once these things are done, the solid-state physical phone, as you know it, it's in its end game. It's been near enough perfected where every little bit is just pulling on every type bit of making it extra complete. But once those things are done, it's in its end game. What's now been established is 2 new categories for the people that want these phones that they like, which is me, to be more portable, more sleek, and easier to lug around, and a bit more pretty, right? The female demographic are going to chew up at these phones, especially when they have 5.8, 6.2, and 6.7 inch models that come out. The real power user, and I'm talking about the Beyond Flagship series, BFS, right? That's what I'm calling it, Beyond Flagship. Flagship series, mid-range series, low-end series. This new Beyond Flagship series, you're going to have 2 people, and it's definitely the same as how you have with tablets, right? You're going to have 2 people that are going to want the smaller tablet fold as well as the larger tablet fold. 3 people. By 2025, and I promise you by the end of this decade, you're going to have 2 strong folding categories next to your traditional solid state phone, and you're going to be a person that walks in and you're going to have a great journey. Who am I? Am I old school and solid state? Am I new school and flip, but I still like the size? Or am I the big power user that wants it all? Everything. I can just fold up and just get to town. Well done, Samsung. Well done, Samsung. Absolutely well done, Samsung. Like, I'm all for where this is going. I'm gonna bring some critiques to the S20 series with the Ultra. You should have had a 45-watt charger in the box. You should have. At this price point, you should have. It's capable of doing it with these bigger batteries. You should have put a 45-watt because the 25-watt is now just okay. It's probably still very good, don't get me wrong, a very efficient battery structure with the 25-watt power delivery charger, but you should have put a 45-watt one in there, especially as the Ultra. Wireless charging. I know that the wireless charging has now gone up from 12 watts to 15 watts, but from when Huawei is doing 27 watts, Xiaomi's announced 30 watts, Oppo's announced 30 watts, you should have at least had 25 watt. 25 watt plug, 25 watt wireless. It would have communicated better. So with a bigger battery now as well and still on 15 watt wireless charging, I don't know. The display feels like a bit of an oxymoron, and I I have conspiracy alert here. The reason why I think that is, as you guys know, these new generation ×2 dynamic AMOLED displays are impressive. They are impressive. They definitely are impressive, 100%, right? But there is no middle ground. There just isn't. There isn't even a middle ground. It just scales like a seesaw the other way. You want high refresh rate? 1080p. You want high resolution? 60 hertz. There's no middle ground of at least quad high definition plus and 90 hertz like what you get from the OnePlus. Right? There isn't even that. Here's my reason, and this one's a conspiracy theory, so buckle up, and no one's talked about it. We all know the love-hate relationship between Exynos and Snapdragon. We've known for a little while that Snapdragon performs overall better, especially when it comes to battery optimization and efficiency. Do you know what I think? What I think happened? Again, Exynos 990, 7nm plus technology, Mali G77 GPU that's in there, versus the Snapdragon 865. I think Samsung did not have enough time to do enough extensive battery testing. And they decided to make a decision that, you know what, play it safe. Make it scale the way that we've given. What could happen in the future, in 3-6 months, they could do further battery testing and then push out a software update and say, hey, you can do both. Let me give you another reason why that's the case. Do you remember the original Razer Phone 1? I did a video on it. That's a phone from 2017. Went to the event in Science Museum in London. Loved it. Met great people there as well. Although on an LCD screen technology with TFT, it was a 16:9 quad high definition display with 120 hertz, and there was a 90 hertz option as well as the 60 hertz option as well. It had a Snapdragon 835 and 4,000 milliamp hour battery. And the battery performance was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's not the problem with the performance. I think on a scaling, the Exynos 990 isn't good enough yet in terms of full testing. It's a conspiracy. I just have this inkling feeling, because it's not the hardware. The display's there. It can do it. It can do both the quad high definition and 120 hertz at the same time. It can definitely do the quad high definition plus and the 90 hertz at the same time. 100% can do it. OnePlus is doing it on the 7 Pro and the 7T Pro. Samsung make the panels. They're using outright Qualcomm processors from the 855 and the 855 Plus. They can do it. Globally, they're using more of the Exynos 990, but America's a big market, and the Snapdragon 865 is where it's at. And if you want a 5G model, you've got to use Snapdragon. That's also in the UK. So the 4G models have Exynos, 5G models have Snapdragon. It's a confusing mess for testing. They just played it safe. Call me a conspiracy theorist, call me crazy, but I have a feeling that's the reason why they made that decision. I hope potentially, maybe in 3 months, 6 months, they do more testing and they can at least enable the option of having 90 hertz in there. Because why there isn't an intermediary 120, 90, and 60, it boggles the mind. Even in 1080p mode, you should have a 90 hertz option, right? And in the quad high definition plus mode, you should definitely have a 90 hertz option at this point, even if you're not enabled 120. So the display. It is the best display on a smartphone, asterisk. Because in some sense, if you don't enable the high resolution, you're pretty much using the same display text from last year. But then when you don't, yes, you're in 2020, 120 hertz, AMOLED, but it's 1080p. And with the viewing distance that we view these devices at 1080p, especially 6.9 inches with the new aspect ratio, potentially you might notice some fuzziness. Is it fuzzy enough where most people will realize? No, 100% agree. Most people don't care about the display. The display is the last thing on their mind when they're buying these phones. Camera is, storage is, software to see if they can transfer their old apps and their stuff onto their new phone easily, and it supports all the apps that they want, right? Battery, 100%, and charging, displays last. I know. I can accept that. 100% can accept that. The majority of people have display as the last thing on their mind. They want the camera to be good. They want the most amount of storage and performance, but storage first, then performance, because they really don't understand what processor models mean, but they do understand what gigabytes and storage is, right? They want to make sure that the software that is on that phone will allow them to transfer all their favorite apps, all their content onto the new phone and support all the apps that they like to download and will download in the future. 100%. Battery. They want to make sure that it lasts where it needs to last for them to be able to use the phone all day and beyond and charge quickly when they need to. That matters to them. And then maybe they'll think about the display. Why do you think the iPhone 11 is doing so well? With that trash display, people don't care enough. They care enough about, is the iPhone camera good? Because iPhones have a reputation and they've built it, especially with third-party apps, that they are good. Right? So that's where the display on this S20 series is a very, very weird kind of praise. It's weird to praise it. They could fix it, but will they? I think it's the Exynos 990 that's holding them back, especially if not for performance, battery efficiency. I honestly think so. Call me as conspiracy theorist. Let me know. What else? It's weird on the S20 series that the high resolution cameras on the zoom. Again, shout out to Marques Brownlee. He made a very, very good analysis that on the S20 and the S20 series, just be warned that the main cameras are 12 megapixels. So the main cameras are not the ones that are shooting the 8K video. 8K in its resolution is 33 megapixels. So you need a window box of at least 33 megapixels for it to work. So it's using a zoom camera. So because it's using a zoom camera, it's probably cropping in by times 2 or times 3 to utilize the 64 megapixels. And then to get the information from there to do the 8K video. Whereas on the S20 Ultra, because the 108 megapixels on the main camera, and that's more than enough pixel window for the 33 megapixels needed for the 8K video, you don't get a crop on the S20 Ultra. So just bear that in mind if you ever wanted to tap into 8K video, that's kind of some of the weird quirks that you will notice. What else? The front-facing camera has been improved on video, but it doesn't have a wider angle. And I think that's an intentional decision that Samsung made because they would have made the hole punch bigger. The hole punch for the front, for the selfie camera would have been bigger. So it was kind of like a compromise of, instead of an f1.7 aperture, it's f2.2. Instead of it being wider angle, it's still the same in terms of obviously the width. It's just to make the hole punch smaller before it disappears. I think that was the decision making on it. So that's another critique. On a hardware level, the rear cameras, I genuinely have no complaints. I can probably say, why did they go down from 16 megapixels down to 12 megapixels for the ultra wide? Maybe. But the ultra wide sensor is itself bigger. It's a bigger sensor. All the sensors are bigger. All 3 sensors are massive. All 3 of them, including the ultra wide, including the zoom, including the main cameras. They are physically bigger. And we're getting closer where these smartphones will, at some point, with the real estate that is taken at the back, be big enough to have a 1-inch sensor, the same as what you find in a camcorder, the same as what you find in a Sony RX7, RX100 series, which would be insane. I want there to be the most powerful single lens shooting camera on a smartphone. Bring back the Lumia 1020 days. We need to have that. So I'm overall, even with these critiques, and I think these critiques are absolutely fair, and it shows that in its entirety, no product is absolutely perfect, and the S20 series have their own little flaws that don't make them absolutely perfect. But I can't leave not feeling impressed. I genuinely am. But the one I'm in love with is the Z Flip. Ooh, yeah. I want to try it out. But I'm very, very close to literally pulling the trigger and be like, you know what? Mirror black, bam, Z Flip, I'll take that. I might even get the mirror purple to flex. See what I did there? These are my thoughts. These are my thoughts. These are my thoughts. I might translate into video, but I think pressuring these companies to put as much of the relevant and necessary overkill technology that they get access to that is ready and can be implemented, put it in. Then you have a team that takes that overkill tech and translates it into usable features that normal and everyday people will understand and use, all thanks to you. It's a benefit. You pitch the benefit and be like, wow, how comes it's able to do that? It's because of the overkill tech. But don't worry about the overkill tech. The overkill tech is just doing it in the background. That's what we do. But we want you to have the usable features that will make you enjoy using a phone for a long period of time. And then come up with the crazy marketing, the unique and fun and very, very tangible way of having to market and advertise these features with the overkill tech to make people get wowed, right? The intangibles. And by 2025 and by 2030, we're going to have 3 solid categories of beyond flagship and flagship products on the top end, with folding phones in its vertical, folding screen tablets in their horizontal, and in its end game, pretty much overly well established solid state flat phones, for solid state still phones. That's where we're going to be. That's 100% where we're going to be. And then obviously the mass part markets of, you know, the mid-range and the low-end phones, yada, 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 the 8 series, the M series, and the J series, and all of that stuff. So these are my thoughts, man. These are my thoughts. It brings back S7 series, especially S7 Edge vibes in terms of what they've been able to pull off. I leave watching these products thinking, not perfect, but wowza. Not perfect, but wowza. I think the critiques I've given them without having to obviously use the product and see it from the background are absolutely fair. People's concerns are absolutely fair. 100%. But yeah. Did you move? Yes, I did, bro. Yes, I did. I did move. I did 100% move. I've moved, man. New place. I'm in the office space right now. Dedicated office space. But I will have my own recording studio / room upstairs away from everyone, which is, I can't wait. I need to paint and get 2 extra tables. I'm gonna have a dedicated area for B-roll, dedicated area for editing, and a dedicated area for A-roll. I have my sofa bed so I can crash there when I need to. A studio space where I can always be set up ready to shoot. Can't wait. Even this dedicated office is like, I'm really liking it for just a different vibe and feel for streaming, you know. But this is technically my wife's office, so I'm kind of gate crashing for now. We only just moved in, so yeah. I did move, bro. I did move. Prices are overtaking features. I think no, prices were overtaking features, and that was a big Apple issue. Prices overtaking features was a very big problem, and it's Apple's fault that happened. Samsung have actually brought it back where prices are matching features a lot more closer. Still expensive? 100%. Not for the faint-hearted? Absolutely. Right? But this is proof in concept that you can bring features much closer to what the price is asking for. I blame Apple from 2017 for ruining the whole, for the price, what am I getting? This now communicates more for the price, boy, I'm getting. If you're going to charge me for a laptop, you might as well give me laptop specs. Hence why you got 16 gigabytes of RAM, son. Ooh. So yeah. That's it. I think I've hit the time right on where I needed to hit it, man. So Q&A. Again, I apologize. I don't know if you guys actually prefer it in 1080p 60 frames for these live streams, but I do prefer shooting in 4K UHD for the live streams. But my internet's fast enough, but I've got Wi-Fi limitations and house positioning for Wi-Fi limitations. So I've got to find a way to kind of, utilize my 25 megabits per second upload and my 80 megabits per second download for my new home fiber. So any ideas on how I can make sure that my Wi-Fi is getting the best performance? You know, right now I can only stream in 10 only, like I'm complaining. Still grateful streaming in 1080p 60 frames a second, but I would want to get back to my usual 4K UHD, as I like to say. Yeah, so drop your questions, man. Q&A, 5 minutes, and we're closing out, man. These are my thoughts on the S20 series and also the Z Flip. Hey, 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 hey. Right, any questions, man? Any questions, man? Any thoughts, any opinions, anything I missed, any vital information I missed, anything that you think I'm overreacting or not reacting well enough to? Thoughts on it? You know, do you think my prediction of where we are in terms of phone categories for 2025 as well as 2030 makes sense? It's agreed with, disagreed with, pricing, segmentation, company expectations, company accountability, counting, you know, what do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you think I'm right on the cusp, or I've just missed the mark, or I'm just smoking and, you know, sipping that Kool-Aid? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know. Hey. The other life of tech, LOT, Mr. Roger Gage himself. Hey guys, Roger here. Hey. 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 Oh man, Tech and Chill family, I always appreciate your input, your interaction, the regulars such as your Rogers, your regulars such as Glenn especially, man. Mr. Film by Fresh, I always appreciate you dropping by, man. Technically T, aka Trigger T, as dubbed. As dubbed, Trigger T in the house. C2K Blitz, first time I'm seeing you in the comments, man. I appreciate you coming through and inputting, man. Really appreciate that, man. Great engagement. Yeah, man. They didn't even talk about the front camera as much. Yes, ZR, yes, indeed. George as well, as always. Another one. We need to do another stream together, man, for sure. And Max J himself. Man, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Much love. I'm going to be signing out. Peace. Easy.